All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Los Angeles Lakers Daily, where we post daily Lakers content. If that's something you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So maybe it's due to the Clutch Sports connection, Collin Sexton's agent, but apparently the Los Angeles Lakers have interest in Collin Sexton. And I will say, from the Lakers' perspective, this makes a ton of sense too. Sexton, once Darius Garland got to Cleveland, got kind of moved to shooting guard. Only played 11 games this past season because of a torn meniscus, and about to enter his fifth year into the league. He's a restricted free agent, and I would imagine if an opposing team offers to pay Collin Sexton money, I honestly have a hard time imagining Cleveland is going to cough up the money because, Darius Garland, DG, the PG, is a legitimate star. This guy's a legitimate star. He's an all-star in the making. He's a superstar possibly in the making here. He's been getting better every single year. And Collin Sexton really only offers the Cavs with scoring, which is very important. It's very important. I think most Cavs fans are pretty split on what to do with Collin Sexton. But I would say if the deal means like you have to cough up like $25+ million, I would say that most Cavs fans aren't looking to do that. Now, with Cleveland and Collin Sexton, here's the reason, unfortunately, why I don't think this is going to happen. You're going to have to give Russ in the deal. It's going to have to be a sign and trade, and the Cavs are going to have to get Russ back. Russ doesn't offer Cleveland with much. Unless he was willing to come off of the bench, which we've already seen him laugh at, I have no reason to believe why Cleveland would want Russell Westbrook. I really have no reason to believe. So I think this is a very far-fetched. I don't see this actually happening. If it were to happen, though, it's not totally impossible. Because if it were to happen, and to be quite honest with you, this is how a Russell Westbrook trade will most likely need to happen, unless you're trading with a specific amount of teams, like maybe the Rockets, you could get away with a 1-for-1 because of John Wall's ridiculous contract. But if you're trading Russ, and especially if you're trading Russ for Collin Sexton, it's going to have to be at least a 3-team trade. I wouldn't even be surprised if we started getting into 4-team trades here. Because one team is going to have to be willing to take on Russell Westbrook. So that's right out of the get-go. And that might be a team. There might be sleeper teams like Charlotte. Maybe even the New York Knicks. I'm sure there's a team out there in the league that is willing for Russell Westbrook to be their starting point guard. I would imagine 100%. But at the same time, that team's going to have to be willing to give up a good amount of value to give it to Cleveland, because Cleveland's getting rid of Sexton, and it's like, yeah, all right, maybe Sexton was already going to go, but, you even look back to Kyle Lowry in the sign and trade, Lonzo Ball, everybody was getting some sort of value back. So a team like Charlotte would have to cough up, I would say maybe 2 players to hand to Cleveland. One guy who's going to immediately at least help your team, like a guy like PJ Washington. So it's going to come down to money. Money's going to be the most important, and then it's also going to come down to who wants Russ. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting into some 3-team, maybe even some 4-team trades, as crazy as it sounds, if Russell Westbrook does in fact get traded. Now, Darvin Ham's already come out and said, I think Russ would be a perfect fit, but I don't trust GMs. I don't trust coaches. I don't trust these dudes for a second. I don't trust them for a second. This is a business. The NBA is a business. The bottom line with Russell Westbrook is you have pretty much been losing your investment. You're getting a tough ROI. So what would I do? I would trade Russell Westbrook. Part of me, that part of me in the back of my head that's getting rid of rationality is give him a shot. Give Russ a shot. I know Russ can still hoop. I know that. But can he hoop with LeBron? Can he hoop with AD, who hasn't shot a basketball since April? I don't know. I don't know how the Lakers are going to look next year. What I do know is if they got Collin Sexton, a lot of things would change because, yeah, Collin Sexton's been moved to shooting guard the last 2 years, or at least a lot less on-ball, having the ball in your hands duties. But at the same time, once we get into the playoffs, that's what LeBron James starts to do. That's what the Lakers do in general. Even if it's AD, find a passer or push the court. Got to play fast. You got to move in transition. That's where the Lakers are hoping to just drastically improve in. So Collin Sexton, I think, would fit pretty well. I think he would fit perfectly, to be quite honest with you. This past year was tough because, like I say, he only played 11 games before he got down with a torn meniscus. It was an interesting situation because it was a pretty new look Cavs squad with Evan Mobley, the emergence of Darius Garland. But Collin Sexton wasn't able to really find his shot. He shot 45% from the field, which isn't horrible, and then he shot 24% from downtown, which is just a terrible. With shooting 24% last season from downtown, he's still a career 38% three-point shooter. So he can catch and shoot threes. He can spot up, take three. He can do a lot of different things as far as scoring the basketball. So that's why I think he would be huge on the Lakers. His defense isn't perfect, but what we saw with the Lakers is you at least need some offense, dude. I'd rather have the Nets worries, the Nets issues where you're like, where's the defense, rather than who the hell is scoring the ball, because these 35-year-olds not only can't stay healthy, but they also just can't make shots. Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington, DeAndre Jordan. Last year, Lakers were relying on these dudes to take shots and score. Like, it's DeAndre Jordan, bro. Like, LeBron and AD and Russ can only do so much every single game. You need more guys than Trevor freaking Ariza. No disrespect to Ariza, because he used to be a solid basketball player. He still is an NBA caliber player, but I would definitely 100% have Trevor Ariza at this point in his career in like an Andre Iguodala role, where you're not playing much at all in the regular season. We're waiting you for the playoffs, and when you come in the playoffs, it is solely and specifically for defense. That is it. So that's why I'm like, all right, get Sexton, and you can still keep a guy like Trevor Ariza. Just bench him the whole freaking season, except for here and there, or when you need the depth, when you need him. And then in the postseason, he's got fresh legs because he's also 36 years old. So I think it's interesting. But if we look back 2 years ago, that's where you see kind of the Collin Sexton from Bama that was like supposed to be the Collin Sexton from Bama. So 2 years ago in 2020 to 2021, he started and played in 60 games, 24.3 points per game, 3.1 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1 steal per game. Then he also shot 48% from the field and 37% from downtown with about 4.5 threes per game. So offensively speaking, I think this is a cat who, especially if you lose Malik Monk, Collin Sexton is pretty perfect. What's tough, dude, is like financially, like I said, it sucks that the Lakers just don't have money, because if you give it, I would imagine in the offseason, if you try and give Collin Sexton like a bigger deal, I would imagine that the Cavs are not going to match it. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, but most importantly, what do you think about Collin Sexton going to the Cavs? Does it work out in a trade? Does it at least work out in your mind? Is it a good fit in your mind, even if it's not on paper? Let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys later.